What's up, guys? It's your boy Dorian here, and I'm back at it again with another video with Sabrina. Wait, this is Jonathan. I'm with Jonathan, and this is Sabrina. I'm with Sabrina, two of the Geeks of Color members, and she also does First Cut. You can check that out on the website and on their channel. Leave a link in the description below. But we are here today to talk about all the events that happened at DC Fandom. It was an eventful day, to say the least. So we got a list pulled up right here. We're just going to go through all of it. But first, I want to ask you guys each, what was your favorite panel of the day? Sabrina, you.
Oh, that's easily the Batman panel. Last one of the day, going out on a high note. That's the one I was looking forward to the most, so that was my favorite.
What about you?
Man, I'm so excited for the Suicide Squad, and you know, even though we didn't get a trailer, we got that featurette, seeing the cast in action, doing their thing, the cute little logos coming up, loved it.
And also, by the way, I just wanted to let you guys know I am taller than Jonathan. He just has a couple cushions under his seat right now. So if you see a little height difference, that's just because he's sitting on something. He's not taller than me.
Well, I'm the tallest.
Let's never get that. Yeah, she's the tallest out of all three, for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
8 feet, 7 feet, 5.
So we got the first panel of the day was actually the Wonder Woman panel, and we all knew there was a trailer going to be coming, but I didn't expect it to be that good. I knew we were going to get a first look at Cheetah, and I gotta say, I was pretty blown away with how she looked. I thought she was going to look decent. I thought maybe they still have stuff to work on with her, but she looked good. So Jonathan, I'll pass to you first. What do you think of the Wonder Woman trailer?
Man, I was so scared that we were gonna have Cats 2021 whenever it comes out, but you know, no, Cheetah looks great, and just the whole vibe of the movie, ever since the posters, the trailers, the images, just everything just coming out has always been a good vibe. So I'm really just so excited for this movie, just waiting for it to come out. Only in theaters.
What about you, Sabrina?
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, it's so vibrant, it's so fun, and we kind of get all of that from the trailer. Obviously we have those sinister presence looming whenever we have a villain, but besides that, it just seems like it's going to be a really good time, like a feel-good film, women empowerment. I feel like this is something that we need to see always, so I'm excited to get that follow-up to the first Wonder Woman, and the trailer was amazing. Cheetah looked incredible. Yeah. Kristen Wiig, when they announced her casting, not that I could ever doubt her, but I was a little nervous about being taken out of the film possibly by her casting, and I didn't know how well she would just mesh in with the entire ensemble. But judging from the trailer, I mean, I was wrong immediately. So she looked great.
Yeah, speaking of that, it's just because we all know Kristen Wiig is a fantastic actor. If you haven't seen her in Skeleton Twins, go see her in that. She's absolutely fantastic. But I like you said, like when I just see her, anytime I see Kristen Wiig, I always just associate her with humor because she is hilarious as hell. Like even on the DC Fandom panel, she was making me laugh. Like she is just a hilarious person. So when I saw her in this actual trailer, this one versus the first one, blew my mind. I'm like, all right, I'm sold. She's Cheetah. She looks committed. She is going all out with this. So I'm definitely excited for that. Another thing I want to point out about the DC Fandom trailer, I don't know what it was about the lighting and all of that for the panel, but Gal Gadot, I don't know, she looked extra Wonder Woman today for some reason. I don't know if it was before,
she was glowing.
She was glowing she just had that radiant Wonder Woman glow to her, and I was just like, that's Princess Diana. She's really encapsulating that in her soul, her body. She just absorbed it. So I can't wait to see her in action because that trailer just looked phenomenal. And so the next panel was the Gotham Knights panel. This was their first game announcement, and I was pretty excited about this because when we were coming into this, when it was coming in, they announced they've been teasing it this whole week. We thought it was going to be Court of Owls, but it ended up being Gotham Knights with Court of Owls, of course, being one of the main villains. And I thought it was interesting to have you can play as 4 different Bat family members, and I thought it was a bold move to just take out Batman. But like I said earlier, I'm glad they're giving Batman a break after 4 games. He can chill, and I'm sure he'll be incorporated in the game eventually. But I'm glad that they are focusing on the Bat family. So what did you think about the footage?
Yeah, that's it. It looks really good. Love the Arkham games. So excited to play as these new characters. And yeah, just really hyped, man.
All right, the next one is The Flash. And the only reason we're talking about this is because of the concept art. That trailer or that panel was only 10 minutes. I didn't expect much because they haven't shot anything because it's been in production hell for years now with directors and things like that. But Andy Muschietti looks like he's sticking on. Everything was fine. So what did you think about that panel?
Well, I just overall, because it was so short and there wasn't really a lot for us to work with, my overall thoughts on this film and going forward what I want to see, Andy Muschietti, I think he is so immensely talented. Everything that he did with It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, making that huge novel, which Stephen King adaptations are no joke. Like, it really, you have to put somebody behind the lens that is so immensely talented to really show his vision, and he was able to do that. And so I think with this story, with the incorporations of all the characters that we know, Michael Keaton's Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman, I think he's going to be able to tell a really great cohesive story throughout, because there is a lot going into this. And of course, the elephant in the room, Ezra Miller is just, I feel like that's why they made that panel so short, is so they could just sweep everything under the rug and not really talk about what's actually happening.
Yeah,
and
get
that's
him in and out.
Yeah, like address that. It didn't have to be today. Address it maybe before. This has been going on for a few months, so this was something that I think they just wanted to get in, get out really fast, and not really have too many repercussions. Exactly. Exactly. And yeah, so I'm really excited for this film. I'm excited from all the announcements that they've made throughout the week. I just wish we had a longer panel and we had more answers to kind of everything that we're wondering about this film.
What about you?
Look, I mean, everything Sabrina said, and also just seeing that concept art and the Flash's new suit, looking a lot like Iron Man from like Infinity War, like that nanotech thing. Yeah. But I can't deny seeing Keaton's Batman suit right there next to the Flash right there. That was a cool concept art piece. So I am excited. I'm excited to see how they will address the real world production stuff and people involved of it all. But we shall see going forward.
Yeah, well, y'all both touched on it. It was a 10-minute panel. They got in and out. You could tell Andy. It was funny. You could tell Andy Muschietti. He was giving his all, energy his all, but he was like, bro, y'all really brought me out here for 10 minutes of like. Y'all just brought me out here like this to talk about this movie that I haven't even got to start working on yet. So I don't know. I'm excited for it. It seems like now, like y'all said, it seems like they finally have a solid base. Everything's looking good in terms of like the script and all that. We have Christina Hudson as a writer, and I love what she did with Bumblebee. So the next panel we had on there was James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. That was that was your favorite panel. That was a big ass panel. It was a hype panel. We didn't get an actual trailer, but we got a little bit of behind the scene footage just showing filming and things like that. And that looked intense. You can tell James Gunn is using more practical effects versus what he did with Guardians in terms of like the special things that he needed for that. It feels more gritty, feels more like a war movie. So definitely excited to see that. We got the whole cast reveal. So Sabrina, I'll pass it to you first. What did you think of the panel?
Yeah, I'm always excited when James Gunn is behind something. I think he worked with a huge ensemble really well when he did Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's just taking something like that and then putting it into the tone of this film, which I think he's able to do that. We've seen him do some films that have a little bit of like horror elements, some darker stuff. It doesn't always have to be like fun Guardians of the Galaxy like esque tone wise. So I'm really excited. I mean, this cast is huge. We have a few people coming back, like Viola Davis, Margot Robbie. What were some of the other ones?
Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah, Joel Kinnaman. Jai Courtney.
Jai Courtney. I think it was like them.
I think it's them. I think it's
them
them
four,
and then
we have a lot. Yeah, we have a lot of people added to the cast. We have people like Pete Davidson, who's really like up and coming. Like I feel like it's just growing a lot, and we haven't really seen him do action. That's really exciting. All the set pieces we were able to see in the featurette look incredible. Harley Quinn looked incredible. I loved her look. I loved everything about it. And yeah, this really is that like dark and gritty type of Suicide Squad that I don't think we were able to see in the last film, and something that we kind of missed out on. I feel like James Gunn is going to kind of grab all those pieces together and make something that's actually exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing it when it comes out. And yeah, I really enjoyed a lot about this featurette and all the casting that they announced. Yeah.
And what about you, Johnny?
I mean, not much else more to say. I'm really excited to see what Gunn does, and as someone who like I've seen like Super, which is a film he made that's very like dark in tone, kind of super like dark humor kind of superhero movie. I'm excited to see what he can do with that. If the film ends up being, depending on the rating or whatnot, I'm excited. I'm excited as hell, man. And Pete Davidson, excited for. Been loving the come up so far, so
listen, y'all. I don't want any of y'all getting attached to any characters. Y'all can tell with this big whole ensemble cast. Some of them are getting blown up, like in the first 5 Everybody's been calling it, so don't get attached to people. That's all I'm saying. Pete Davidson, My light-skinned twin brother, I hope you make it through.
Yeah.
Though.
As long as Polka Dot Man makes it, I think I'll be okay.
But with that, so they haven't even done test screenings or anything like that, and WB loves what they see. I'm pumped. Like, I cannot wait for this movie. So definitely can't wait. There's a big ass cast. Can't wait to see all of them return and see what happens next. So we'll have more once we get more updates. Once we get an actual trailer, I can't wait for the
give
trailer.
Us the trailer.
It's not a behind the scenes video. All right, and the next thing we have that we'll touch on this briefly is because this isn't movie related. We have the Boss Females Females of Color panel, which I think was another highlight of the whole thing because it had all the women of color from not just the DC TV, but we also had Megan Good come from the Shazam movie, which I thought was important to bring her in. Even though we didn't get to see much of the adult version of Darla, we will. I'm definitely hoping we see more of that in Shazam 2, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But just overall, that panel was very special because I think it really, like the DJ D Nice who hosted the Blurred and Bougie party tonight, he killed it as moderating with Estelle. But one thing that they just touched on was just talking about how like difficult it was especially for the black women. Like if you're in any fandom, I feel like black women in any sci-fi, any geek fandom, they get the brunt of the hate anytime they're introduced or if somebody doesn't like their character or anything like that. So just women in general. So people of color, women of color, I think have it the hardest in terms of just sci-fi, in terms of any genre trying to break through or just trying to deal with toxic fan bases. So they touched on that. They just talked about all the obstacles they had to overcome, like from Candace Patton being the first black Iris West and all the stuff she had to deal with when she got cast. Anna Diop getting cast as Starfire, she talked about how she dealt with a lot of crap, and I vividly remember her getting so much shit, and I had to just defend her. I was like, if y'all gotta go through me before I'll go to Anna. Like I'll fight all of y'all. So that panel was just empowering to see all of them together, just all of them just relating and bonding. And so I was like, you know what? I'm glad they took time out of the big hype, the big spectacles to put a spotlight on these women of color and just say like, y'all have been carrying the shows on y'all's back. So here's some love to y'all, and y'all deserve it. So we just want to touch on that one real quick. I don't know if either of you guys got to see it, but if you do you have any thoughts?
Saw a little bit of Candace Patton on there, and I mean, echoing what you said, I unfortunately didn't get to watch the whole panel, but yeah, it's an important thing to talk about and discuss, and it was really cool of the programmers to include that panel in there.
And Sabrina, as somebody who firsthand has like you're in the heart of it, just dealing with comments and things like that. What can you talk about like just your experience versus what they talked about in the panel?
Yeah, it's just really important to have this kind of spotlight on representation in general because, like you said, even actresses that get casted or cosplayers as well. I mean, this adds this kind of inclusivity into the fandom that we never really get to see a lot with like Star Wars and everything. When black women are cosplaying as a certain character, people will hate on them because the character's not black. Yeah. Like that kind of gatekeeping and that kind of like exclusive behavior is just something that shouldn't be tolerated. And I feel like these kind of steps are so necessary to make it more inclusive for every single person and for black women especially. Like this is very important.
Yeah, and I definitely hope they continue this panel, do it bring it back for San Diego whenever conventions start back up, because there are many women in the DC universe, DC TV universe, so definitely something they should keep recurring because it was definitely informational, but because I feel like it for people that not necessarily are black or not women, they got a fresh perspective, a lens of a group of black women and people of color, women of color that have dealt with like crap their whole careers in this sci-fi geek realm. So definitely an enlightening panel to check out. They'll be replaying it on the DC fandom site. Go check it out when you can, but definitely check that panel out. So the next one we want to talk about, this is another big one that got teased at Snyder Con, Justice League Con earlier this month, but we got the first trailer for the Zack Snyder's Justice League, and come on, that was a trailer, man. Like the Batman trailer was a trailer. I think that was my favorite trailer out of all of them. But that Justice League one with the Hallelujah soundtrack, whoo, that was fire. I'll go to you first, John.
Look, I said it in our trailer reaction. I'll say it again. That the mixture of the song, the footage, it feels like we're revisiting these characters we know, and I'm so excited to see what this experience is going to be. I mean, 4 1-hour parts. That's
crazy.
Awesome. That's crazy. And I'm really excited to see how epic this can be, the storytelling, and just where this takes us, man, from here. So, I mean, that's all I can say.
What about you, Sabrina?
Yeah, 100%. I echo everything Johnny said. Like, I mean, with something like this has been talked about for years. When you have to roll through with, like, SnyderCon and with everything, you have to come showing up and showing out now that this is actually happening. And Zack Snyder did. Zack Snyder, every single time he's done a panel of any sort, he always comes with this poise and grace after everything that he had to deal with. Same thing with Ray Fisher, and it's something that I love to see. I love to see the people who had their original vision and had it ruined in the end and never got to see the light of day. I'm excited that he's able to do something like this and bring this out. Because so many people have been supporting the Snyder Cut for a very long time, and I mean, like Jonathan said, 4 1-hour parts, like, that is awesome. I know I'm going to be sitting down and watching it all the way through, but for anybody who doesn't have that kind of, like, time or ability to sit down, they can see it in those types of episodes, and it's just something really cool. And I love that he's exploring more of the characters with Cyborg and everything, stuff that we should have seen within the film. Something about my biggest criticism of kind of the format of how they chose to distribute their films was kind of like, it's like they didn't really have the foundation of it, and I feel like we missed the foundation because of Justice League not being the film that was supposed to be made from the start.
Right.
I feel like that would have built the solid foundation for everything to keep rising up from, and so hopefully this could kind of fill in those gaps and flesh out everybody's stories. We could see more of Cyborg, we could see more of the Flash, especially ahead of his own film. So yeah, I'm really, really pumped for this film.
Yeah, and the interesting thing both of you touched on is just how this will. I'm curious to see how, once this is released in its full glory, how this will affect the future of the DCU in terms of, like, for example, we have not heard anything about Kiersey Clemons returning as Iris for the Flash movie, but now that we have her fully confirmed in the trailer for Justice League, like, because that was initially one of the deleted scenes they took out, so Iris West was never seen in the original Justice League. So now this is kind of confirming, like, once it hits HBO Max, Kiersey is the Iris West. Like, I'm sure they can do, like, the multiverse thing or whatever. But, you know, besides that, I absolutely love the trailer as well. So let's go ahead and jump to the next thing. We have Black Adam. This was another short panel. The concept art, there was like a little moving concept art type of trailer, and the cool thing about it is our boy Boss Logic was the one who did those the drawings, so was impressed by that, because I've been following Boss Logic's career from a while now and seeing from where he started to where he's at now. Just he's killing it. You get him in all your major studios. But yeah, we got some concept art. So what did you guys think of that? It was a very quick panel, so there's not much to talk about. But Sabrina.
Yeah, I mean, the concept art looked great. We had Noah Centineo, which I think is really interesting, as Atom Smasher coming on, and then, you know, we also got some kind of, like, tiny little teaser video that came up on the internet, and it just they've been talking about this movie for a long time, so I'm kind of like, I don't love when anticipation is dragging on for so long, so I'm a little underwhelmed just because I would rather have them just wait on it and maybe get it moving a little bit before we keep hearing about this. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but I just want more, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie has, I don't want to say it hasn't been, it's been, like, they've been talking about it for a while, like you said, but The Rock, you know, I trust that man with any franchise, so he said, you know, trust us, it's going to be a game changer. And he seems really convinced that, or not really convinced, but he seems to know that, like, they're going to stay true to Black Adam. He's going to be a real anti-hero. It's not going to be any, like, flish me flop. He's going to be a true anti-hero, and he's going to fight for truly what he believes in. I'm excited to see the rest of the cast, because they confirmed Hawkman, yes. Dr. Fate, and who else was there was a third one. Dr. Fate, Hawkman, I think it was the last one was Atom Smasher, I believe. I don't know. There was we'll link in the description below or something. But, you know, we've got some of the JSU coming, so I'm excited about that. And then another big thing, the biggest thing of the day, Milestone Comics. So it was announced earlier this week that it would Milestone will be returning back to DC Comics. For those who aren't familiar, like, they haven't had the rights for a long time. That's why you haven't seen, like, Static or any of the Milestone characters in DC Universe or anything like that. So now they're finally coming back. There's a comic book series already in the works, But the biggest thing is that the Milestone co-founders, the Milestone founders, actually said that there is a Static Shock movie in the works. And I already made my campaign earlier that I should be playing Static. There's nobody else that should be playing Static, bro. Like, look, Jonathan, put the graphic up. Oh, he's right here. Usually, he's an editor as well, so he'll put a graphic up over my face after this video is recorded. But like I said, like there's no other person to play Static. I'm a young guy already, so I can play a high schooler. Black don't crack. There's like 30-year-olds playing high schoolers right now, so shouldn't be an issue with a 20-some-year-old playing a high schooler.
If Ben Platt can play a high schooler in Dear Evan Hansen, then Dorian Parks, hashtag Dorian for Static.
Hashtag, put that on the screen.
Dorian
too.
for
Put it
Static.
right here. Jonathan, put it right here.
Let's
yeah,
go.
Please. The next one is, this is another quick panel, and there's nothing really to touch on. But Shazam 2 got an official title with The Fury of the Gods. That's pretty exciting, and it confirmed that we will see the Shazam family, the adult Shazam family again. The Shazam. So we'll see older daughter, we'll see Megan Good, we'll see what's the name, Brody Peters, we'll see all of them again. So
Adam Brody.
Brody.
You said Brody Peters?
I have no idea who that is.
Who's that?
Did you merge like Evan Peters and Adam Brody together?
I guess. Who's
Adam Brody.
whatever.
Adam Brody.
Whatever. Wait. The Suicide Squad game as well, I'll run through that real quick. Suicide Squad game, it's going to be up to 4 players. That's exciting. So as I was watching the trailer, I told Jonathan, I was like, this is going to be their version of the Avengers game that's dropping later on this month, in terms of you can have multiple players, co-op mode online, and things like that. So I think this is just their, like, DC Marvel, they always have their back and forth, so it's not, I'm not tripping about it. If you're going to have the Avengers, yeah, give us a evil Suicide Squad game where they're trying to kill the Justice League. I'm all for that. I would love to try to kill Superman. That's pretty dope. But yeah, and the thing about it, it's not coming out till 2022, so we got a whole another year, and then we have another year. So we don't know.
So year and a half.
Time works.
So we have another year, and then we have another year after that, and we don't know what's coming out in 2022. So I feel like this was more just an announcement to be like, yeah, we got our own co-op game coming. Don't worry about it. We got a Batman game. We got Gotham Knights. We got this one too. Don't worry about DC. We coming up on the games, because I feel like it was starting to seem like Sony and Marvel were starting to come up with their video games. So this was just like a chill. We got this too. But the last panel of the day is the Batman. This is Matt Reeves' Batman. This is one of the most anticipated panels, most anticipated movies of the year, of the next couple years. I'm excited about it. So we got a teaser. He talked a lot about the movie itself, and no real spoilers or anything, but we got a teaser. We got the 2-minute teaser. They've only shot 25% of it, so that was a thing to note, that the teaser looked fantastic for only 25%, so I'll pass it to you first. What did you think?
Yeah, so this was my favorite panel of the day, easily. Even just having, like, Matt Reeves speak on the film as much as he possibly can say at this point, just because they, like you said, they're only 25 to 30% through the film, but he talked about a little bit of inspiration. He talked about filming locations and what they've been dealing with that, and like his buildup of Gotham. And I'm so excited to see it, because from the teaser trailer, like, it looked absolutely incredible. It looked dark and gritty and gothic, and we got all of that within it. And even with the look of the Batman, he just looks so disgruntled. And it's interesting because we have that kind of, like, he looks so damaged, but he's so young at the same time. It's not like the grizzled, like, Ben Affleck Batman that we had. It's like juxtaposed, because he looks so down, but he's so young and still fresh, but everything. And there's just so much to love. Robert Pattinson in that teaser trailer embodied everything that I wanted to see in Batman, because obviously we didn't get too much of like a Bruce Wayne of it, but he looked incredible. The costume looked incredible. I love the way Gotham is set, and yeah, there's just so much to talk about within this one. It was really exciting. And
you sorry, John, you speaking about Pattinson just now, it just made me realize, like, I didn't have any, once the trailer started, once everything going, I didn't have any, I don't know if he's going to be a good Batman or not. Like, immediately when he was on screen, from the first scene we saw him to the last shot, I'm like, all right, Pattinson, take my goddamn money. Like, you are Batman, sir. The 2 minutes that we got to see of the 25% of the film of that was shot, I'm already sold. Like, I'm already sold in this universe. Johnny, what'd you think?
Look, like, I could echo everything you guys have said. But I also need to talk about what Matt Reeves talked about the character of Bruce Wayne and Batman, and something we see in the trailer, those close-up shots of his eyes, like, he looks tortured. It looks like he's living in his mistakes a little bit. I'm curious to see that kind of character development in Batman, because it's not one that I'm all too familiar with. You know, I may not have seen every Batman film or read every Batman comic book or storyline or iteration, but I mean, I love when a main character, someone we hold as a superhero, a deity almost, can be flawed, can understand their mistakes, that they are human, and that it's a novice Batman. I am so excited to see how that plays out, and seeing what Matt Reeves did with the character of Caesar in his Planet of the Apes movies. I mean, look at what he could do with character. That's what I'm excited for the most, is seeing that.
And piggybacking off of that, even what he's going to do with our Riddler, Paul Dano, and Catwoman and Zoe Kravitz. Yeah. Yeah.
That Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz, come on now. That was, we only saw like a couple snippets, but just those couple snippets, I'm like, come on, just look at Catwoman. I love it. I love it so much.
And I feel like with what everything Jonathan said about Matt Reeves, I think we're going to dive into these characters so much more than we ever have, and I'm really excited because the last Catwoman that I really loved was Michelle Pfeiffer, because he really dove into who she was as a character and why she became this way. And I could just tell from the way that this film looks that we're going to get the same thing. So I am really, really excited about every single aspect. It looked incredible. It was well shot. Even the action, the way it was filmed, loved it.
And another thing before we wrap it up, I was just Matt Reeves, and I think I can't remember either the writer confirmed that this is in its own universe. It's like they've acknowledged that this is the multiverse, of course. So there's different worlds. So this is not part of the Justice. Like this, his Batman won't grow up to be Ben Affleck or anything like that. This is its own universe, which I find truly incredible, because it allows Matt Reeves to not only worry about not have to worry about, oh, I need to connect this, or I need to build this mythology around trying to set up all these other movies. He can focus just solely on his Gotham, his world, and really explore those specific characters and build them out how he wants to. He can do a Catwoman movie within the same universe if he wants to. He can do a Riddler movie. He can do all these different types of movies now, because this is like giving him his own playground, because it's saying, yes, we've established this is his own universe. He has his own rules, like how Todd Phillips got to do Joker. Don't know what universe that's in, but he got to do his own thing, got to create his own movie. Look what happened with that. So they're going to trust, if they trust Todd Phillips like that, they're for sure going to trust Matt Reeves to do what he wants. And having him direct his own trilogy, your boy, this is too early to call, but yeah, I'm already seeing Oscars. I'm seeing awards in the future. This is gonna be a comic book movie that's gonna change the game. Like Zoe Kravitz, please just punch me in the face as Catwoman. Anyway, the last thing we want to wrap up. Batman was amazing, but the last thing I do want to wrap up, as you can see, we've got some DC fandom, some Dream in Black. You know, I got this Dream in Black shirt. We did end the night with the Blurred and Bougie party hosted by DJ D Nice, and gotta say, it was pretty amazing. I went to the first annual party at San Diego Comic-Con last year. An amazing time. The Black Lightning cast was there. So many Blurred, so many people just celebrating, just geeking out, just grooving. And to actually host it, although different circumstances, is a virtual party this time, had some friends with me, and we still had a blast. And I still had a blast vibing with everybody on Twitter. So I want to say thank you again to AT&T and Dream in Black and DC Fandom for allowing us to do this and host this little Twitter party. It meant a lot. And this is not a green screen. This is a real, I know it looks like a green screen, but this is something we can touch. It's a step and repeat. So I just want to say thank you also for sending us this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it for the next month, but I'm excited. But yeah, so I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video, supporting us all day, following us on Twitter and Instagram and all of that. Make sure to hit that like button. What was your favorite panel? Let us know in the comments below. And also, where can they find you guys at?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SabrinaXMonica, and then also Twitter at Sabrina on Film, and on the First Cut YouTube channel.
We'll leave a link in the description right here. Or right here. Yeah, put some text
somewhere over there.
Somewhere.
Jonathan,
Somewhere over
this is
there.
his responsibility.
That's me.
And then where can they find you at, sir?
Twitter and Instagram at It's Johnny Rome.
All right, guys, and you can find me on Twitter at Dorian Parks and Rec, and Instagram Dorian Parks, and then make sure to follow us on Twitter at Geeks of Color. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace up, A-Town down, and make sure to turn into DC Fandom when it comes back September 12th. There's a two-parter event. The second weekend's going to be just as lit. All right, guys, peace.